galactic tribunal sat in silence, its chambers vast and filled with delegates from dozens of alien empires. At the center stood the tall and armored figure of High Lord Victor of the Zarn Dominion. His voice echoed through the hall, sharp and full of pride. We gave Earth a choice: surrender or be erased. No voice answered. No delegate from Earth appeared. Only silence. A heavy, strange silence that made even the cold-blooded species in the room feel something was wrong. The Zarn believed this meant fear, weakness. They laughed. One by one, members of the council nodded. "The humans are finished," said a Chovak war advisor. "They hide because they have nothing left." But far away, in the black sea of space beyond the outer colonies, something moved. A tiny blip on a forgotten scanner. A long-dead Earth satellite suddenly lit up, catching the signal. The transmission was old, very old, but clear. It repeated again and again, bouncing off hidden beacons placed in deep space centuries ago. Engaging protocol. Red Dawn. No one knew what that meant, not yet. But soon they would. Below the surface of a burnt-out moon near Saturn, hidden in ice and metal, a secret base came alive. Red lights flashed, machinery powered up. Human officers who had lived in silence for years now stood ready. General Amina Clark, the last commander of Earth's Defense Protocol, Kay, opened her eyes as the final message appeared on her command screen. Red Dawn confirmed. Initiate Phase 1. She spoke to the room full of loyal officers. "We have waited. We have watched. Now we strike back." The Zarn had thought they won. Earth's surface was shattered, cities broken, and communication blacked out. Billions gone. But what they didn't know, what no alien race had ever guessed, was that Earth had prepared for this moment. Not with speeches, not with open battle, but with quiet. They had hidden ships, hidden fleets, hidden mines. AI warships that needed no crew, programmed only to awaken when Earth's signal went out. And now, the signal was live. Back at the galactic tribunal, alarms started flashing. A scout near the Rival sector had been destroyed. One ship, one flash. No warning, no survivors. The Zarn dismissed it. An old mine, they said. Nothing more. But deep inside, a command ship, orbiting Earth's graveyard, a Zarn intelligence officer named Commander Yali stared at the data. The pattern didn't fit a mine. It was too clean, too targeted. He requested to speak to High Lord Victor, but was ignored. "You see ghosts where there are none," the High Lord told him. But Yali couldn't sleep. Something in his bones told him the war wasn't over, that the humans had not died. They had gone quiet, and quiet, to a predator, was not surrender. Strategy. Elsewhere, in the black void near the Andrus Belt, one of Earth's last dreadnoughts appeared from hyperspace. The EHS Revenant. Dark, old, and silent. No radio, no signal. It simply drifted. Watching. Inside, there was no crew, only AI. Its eyes scanned the system. It sent one signal back to command. Its target acquired, awaiting permission to engage. Top. Order came not from Earth, but from a secure satellite orbiting Jupiter's frozen moon. General Clark's voice came through one final time. "Burn them." The ship's engines flared. It vanished from sight. An hour later, a major Zarn fuel station exploded into white fire. Thousands gone. The blast was so sudden, the local Zarn ships never got a signal off. Back at the tribunal, chaos spread. Reports of missing outposts, static-filled. Black boxes, no messages, only destruction. High Lord Victor finally stood in silence, his face pale. For the first time in Zarn history, there was fear. The humans had not died. They had waited now. The silence they gave was the sound before. A storm, in the galaxy. It was about to learn what Red Dawn truly meant. The stars were quiet. Too quiet. Commander Yali stood inside the Zarn Dominion's command vessel, Vox Eternum, staring at the tactical map. Small red dots flickered. Missing stations, silent scout patrols, destroyed fuel depots, one after another, without explanation. He didn't believe in ghosts, but this felt like one. Yali zoomed in on the latest data from Sector 18 Gamma. The fleet there had reported a low-energy anomaly. No threat, routine scan. 12 minutes later, every ship in that sector went dark. No calls, no escape pods, no distress beacons. Gone, he tapped the console again, running the simulation. It always ended the same, perfect silence, followed by sudden death. Who is doing this? He whispered. Behind him, the heavy doors slid open. Zarn, Warlord, General Threx, entered with 2 guards. You, again, Yali. Threx sneered. More stories about invisible human ghosts. Yali didn't answer at first. He turned, voice steady. Something is moving. Human, built, precise, silent, and angry. Threx laughed. Earth is ash. The humans lost. Their fleets are junk. We saw their broken cities with our own eyes. That's exactly the problem, Yali replied. We saw what they wanted us to see. Rex's smirk faded slightly. Careful, that sounds like fear. No, Yali said quietly. It's respect. Far across the galaxy, hidden behind the shadow of a dying star, a fleet came to life. Black ships, no names, no lights, engines designed to run cold, undetectable. They moved together like a school of sharks, silent and deadly. At the center of the fleet was the human command ship, Oblivion Spear. Inside, Admiral Rhea Anders stood before a wide screen, watching enemy movements. She had waited 20 years for this. 2 decades ago, she watched Earth burn from a command pod deep underground. Zahn had destroyed cities, wiped out communications, and thought they had one. But Earth's final defense project was already in motion. Project Wraith, a plan so secret that even Earth's own allies didn't know it existed. A fleet built in silence, trained in darkness, hidden in the deepest parts of space. Now, Red Dawn had been activated. Anders gave the order. Phase 2 began. Back on the Zarn capital world, the Dominion Council gathered. High Lord Victo stood at the center, grim-faced now. Too many stations lost, he admitted. Too many ships gone without trace. We face something we do not understand. The room murmured. For centuries, the Zarn had ruled through fear, through raw power. No one had challenged them in 100 years. But now, they were being hunted. We must launch a full-scale fleet sweep, General Threx insisted. Flush them out. No, said Yali, stepping forward. That's what they want. These attacks are not random. They are choosing targets that break our supply chains. Fuel, communication, forward outposts, gone. They're not just striking, starving us. The room fell quiet. Then a new message flashed on the center screen. Unidentified. Ship detected orbit of Zarn, Moon, Tolus, Prime. Class, unknown. Signal, none. Movement, approaching. Send a battlecruiser to intercept, barked Threx. But Yali already knew it was too late. Above the moon, Talis Prime. A lone human stealth destroyer floated like a shadow. Its weapons were not massive. Its hull was not shiny or new, but it had something more dangerous: silence and intent. The Zarn cruiser approached, weapons armed before it could lock on. The human ship launched 6 coordinated plasma bursts, every one hitting weak spots in the Zarn ship's hull. The alien vessel broke in half within seconds. No warning, no chance. The footage reached the Dominion Council within minutes. And then, at last, came a message. Not from any radio wave, but across every screen in the galaxy, in every language, in cold, human text. We asked for peace. You gave us fire. Now we respond in kind. High Lord Victor S. claws tightened around his staff. Find their fleet, he growled. Find every last ship. But deep inside, the council now knew. They didn't start this war, but they had awakened something they could no longer control, and it was already here. The war was over. No explosions, no burning cities, no screaming across the stars, just silence and surrender. The Zarn Dominion, once the most feared power in the galaxy, had fallen without a final battle. Their flags were torn down, her fleets scattered, their systems now under human watch. But humans didn't destroy them. They didn't conquer. They remembered. The human fleet returned to New Sol, what was once a small, hidden colony. Now it had become something greater, a symbol, a home. The old flags of Earth were flown again, not for nations, but for memory, for unity. For the billions who were lost when Earth burned, statues were raised, not of generals or kings, but of survivors. Engineers who built ships in secret, pilots who flew through chaos, farmers who saved seeds, children who grew up inside cold steel walls, dreaming of blue skies. Admiral Anders stood in the main hall of the new Galactic Assembly. Not one built by the Zarn, but one made by the survivors of war. Aliens from dozens of worlds sat quietly. Many were former enemies. Some were still afraid, but all had seen what the humans did, and what they didn't do. They didn't take revenge. They didn't become tyrants. They stood up. They fought, and when they won, they offered peace. We are not here to rule, Anders spoke, her voice firm but calm. We are here to warn. She looked at them all. You thought we were gone. You thought the fire of Earth had gone out. Right. She paused, but it only burned brighter in the dark. Back on Zarn Prime, things had changed. Human advisors now worked with locals to rebuild. Schools were reopened. War factories were turned into homes. Even the youngest Zarn child now knew the history of Earth not as a myth, but as truth. And in the center of the capital, a new monument was built, not to victory, but to warning. It read, "They thought we were weak. They gave us silence. We answered with the stars." Somewhere far beyond the edge of known space, a young alien pilot trained inside a human-built simulator. He had lost his family in the war, but he smiled now, flying through digital stars, his hands steady. A voice spoke behind him, an old human veteran. "You're fast," the human said. "Because I learned from the best," the pilot replied. The galaxy was healing. It would never forget the war, but it would never forget the kid. Humans, either. Not just because they fought, but because when the fire burned hot enough to erase a world, they rose from the ashes and taught the stars what fear really meant. The galaxy had never seen human ships move like this. Stealth-class cruisers, black as space, no signals, no communication. They didn't fly in formation like traditional fleets. They drifted like shadows, splitting apart and striking from different angles. In less than 5 days, 27 Zarn outposts were gone. Some were burned to ash. Others were just missing. Every video feed ended the same way. Static. Admiral Rhea Anders stood on the bridge of the Oblivion Spear. Around her, holograms showed red Zarn worlds blinking on and off, each one marked a successful hit. The AI voice broke the silence. Phase 3, objective, ready, awaiting command. Anders didn't speak right away. She stared at one name, blinking on the edge of the screen. Zarn Prime, the heart of the enemy, the place where Earth's destruction was ordered. She whispered, "Not yet. Let them feel what fear tastes like first." Meanwhile, on Zarn Prime, fear had already started to grow. Commander Yali's warnings were no longer ignored. The council now begged for updates. Every hour, new reports arrived, missing fleets, stolen data cores, strange human signals echoing in dark sectors. The worst came from the colony world. Del Nox III, an entire Zarn city population, 2 million, had gone dark. No attack detected, no ship seen. When a Zarn scout ship arrived to investigate, it found only ruins. Buildings turned to melted steel, streets empty. No bodies, just one human message carved into the side of a collapsed tower. We are the shadow you created. High Lord Vigtail roared in frustration. How did they move without detection? No one could answer. The Zarn had never faced an enemy like this. They were used to wars, fought with noise, numbers, and brutal power. But the humans, they used silence like a weapon. They struck where it hurt. Supply routes, communications, leadership. Worse, every time the Zarn tried to strike back, the humans were already gone, far away. The human fleet was not resting. It was evolving. AI-controlled scouts were learning faster with each strike. Enemy patterns were being studied. Each kill made the next one cleaner. Inside the war room of the Oblivion Spear, Admiral Anders watched the screen flicker again. A new Zon world was now marked as silent. Another one, she asked. Yes, the AI replied. A toast. Threll 4 neutralized. No survivors. Anders nodded. Send a message. Within minutes, across 10 systems, a simple line of human code flashed on screens. Phase 3 initiated. You will know our silence before our fire. Back on Zarn Prime, panic grew. The council argued. Some wanted to surrender. Others wanted to bomb every human signal they could detect. But no one knew where to aim. They have no homeworld left, shouted General Threx. They are ghosts. Commander Yali shook his head slowly. No, they are hunters. And we are their prey now. Deep space, hidden behind a collapsing nebula, a final human carrier, powered up. This ship was different. It carried no bombs, no weapons, only cargo, survivors, civilians from Earth, children, scientists, builders, hidden away when Earth fell protected by AI guardians and cloaked transports. Now, they were waking up. Inside the ship, Captain Leanne Torres stepped forward. She wasn't a soldier. She was a teacher, but she had been chosen for one task: lead the future. A message played across the ship's main screen. It was from Admiral Anders. Welcome back. Earth as you knew it is gone, but hope is not. You are the seed of what comes next. She smiled softly. Now go build something better. We'll keep them busy. Humanity had split into two forces, one to rebuild, one to make the enemy bleed. And now, the galaxy finally realized humanity hadn't been destroyed. It had scattered, and in the silence of space, was rising again. The stars above Zarn space began to flicker, not because of cosmic dust or engine trails, but because of something far more terrifying. Human ships, taught hundreds of them. They didn't come in one wave. They arrived system by system, sector by sector. Each fleet moved with surgical precision, destroying weapons arrays, jamming relays, cutting fuel supplies. It was like watching a slow, silent storm move across the galaxy. Inside the command chamber of Oblivion Spear, Admiral Anders stood calmly. She was surrounded by her generals, old war veterans who had survived the fall of Earth. Each one had lost something: a home, a family, a world. But none had lost purpose. Target, Mershak. System confirmed, said the AI voice. 5 orbital foundries, 1 fleet depot. All marked for termination. Send the Wraith Squad, Anders ordered. No warnings, no survivors. On the other side of the galaxy, the Zarn Dominion scrambled. Ships were being pulled from border defenses, resources diverted to protect inner planets. Fear spread faster than strategy. And even worse, no human ships were ever found on sensors before they struck. They moved like whispers, hit like thunder. Commander Yali stood inside the Dominion's tactical center, his eyes locked on the latest. Report, 6,000 Zarn troops gone in a blink on the jungle moon of Valix. Satellite footage showed nothing, just silence. Then fire, then static. JAL. I leaned over the table. They're not fighting a war. They're teaching a lesson. Hi, Lord. Victor bared his teeth. Then, let's teach one back. The Dominion launched Operation Starlock, a massive wall of warships across 5 sectors. Thousands of cruisers, destroyers, and carriers positioned to trap human fleets. But the humans never came. Instead, they sent something new. EMP drones. Hundreds of them. Tiny, near invisible, drifting into Zarn warships, shutting them down, causing ships to crash into each other, creating chaos without a single direct attack. One by one, Zarn fleets turned into floating wreckage in deep space inside a hidden asteroid base. A human tech team laughed as they watched. Dominion ships spin helplessly. Worked again, said Chief Engineer Malik, adjusting his headset. That's 5 fleets today. We haven't even used main weapons yet, said the woman beside him. He grinned. Why waste ammo when panic works better? Meanwhile, Admiral Andrus gave new orders. Begin civilian transmissions, she said, within hours, across dozens of planets. Human signals began playing on civilian channels, messages of warning and of truth. We did not choose this war, okay? But now that it's begun, we will finish it. Entire alien populations began questioning their leaders. Rumors spread, some saying humans had godlike technology, others claiming they were immortal. Ghosts, others still swearing Earth had never fallen, only evolved. Whatever the truth, fear took root back in the Zarn capital. High Lord Victor slammed his fists on the command console. Where are they hiding? Commander Yali answered softly. They're not hiding anymore. They're surrounding us, and far above and silent, orbit around Zarn Prime. A black ship watched. It didn't move, it didn't attack, but it was there, waiting. Hey, warning, because the humans were not finished yet. They were only getting started. The ship above Zarn Prime still hadn't moved. It floated like a shadow, with purpose, silent, watching, daring anyone to attack it. The Dominion tried. They sent a squadron of elite strike cruisers, fast, armed, and proud. They never returned. Satellite footage showed flashes of light, then darkness. No explosions, no escape pods, just a cold black void where the ships used to be. The council on Zarn Prime panicked. Is it a super weapon? One shouted. Is it even piloted? Asked another. Commander Yali stepped forward. It's not a ship. It's a message. High Lord glared. What message? Yali stared at the screen. That we are already dead. Just don't know it yet. Meanwhile, across the stars, humanity's fleet continued its strike missions. One system fell every day, not through overwhelming force, but through fear, precision, and chaos. Human stealth ships disabled power grids, AI viruses corrupted defense networks. Orbital weapons exploded before they could even lock on. Every move was planned. Every attack had purpose. Admiral Anders watched the growing map on her bridge. The Zon-controlled territory shrank like melting ice. They're retreating, said General Hux. They're breaking, Anders corrected. But we don't stop now. We finish this. She gave the command. Activate Phase 4. Phase 4 wasn't just military, it was psychological. Human operatives broadcast messages on Dominion networks using captured signals, CAC satellites, and even Zarn communication towers. The messages were short but powerful. Earth is not gone. We remember your fires. Now feel ours. Alien citizens started to riot. Governors were overthrown. Supply lines collapsed. Entire colonies begged for peace, but there was no reply. Only silence and more disappearing worlds in a forgotten vault. Deep under the Dominion capital, The High Lord met with secret advisors. He was no longer shouting. He looked tired, old, beaten. "How can they win like this?" he asked. "We had numbers. We had weapons." Commander Yali finally spoke. "They had time and pain. In silence, we taught them war, perfected it, far away on the rebuilt human colony of New Seoul." Captain Leanne Torres walked through fields of new buildings. Children played, engineers worked, life was beginning again. She looked up at the stars. "They're still out there, fighting." She whispered. Beside her, a young girl asked, "Will they come home?" Torres smiled sadly. "When it's done, and in space." The final fleet was gathering, not for an attack, for a message. Hundreds of human ships began moving together, for the first time, not in stealth, but in full display. Their lights on, their weapons charged, and at the front, a new flagship, never seen before. It's a massive carrier called the Remembrance, built from the bones of Earth's last defense wall. Admiral Anders stood on its bridge. She didn't speak. She just watched as stars shifted and Zarn Prime came into view. The human fleet moved slowly but without fear. They didn't hide anymore. They wanted to be seen. Every ship came from a different past. Some were old Earth warships, rebuilt with new armor. Others were silent black stealth vessels with no name or a flag. And some were new, created in hidden shipyards among the stars. Forged with pain and memory, at the front was the largest ship ever made by humans, the Remembrance. Its hull was black as night, with the names of lost Earth cities etched into the armor. New York, Shanghai, Delhi, Sao Paulo, Cairo. It was not a warship, it was a grave, and it was angry from orbit. Zarn Prime lit up with warning sirens. Panic spread. Civilians tried to leave. Military forces scrambled to form defensive lines, but it was too late. The human fleet had already disabled every system around the planet. Satellites were blind. Defense cannons were offline. No communication reached outside the system. The world was sealed, trapped on the bridge of the Remembrance. Admiral Anders looked out at the planet. "They burned our world," she said. "Now they'll understand what it means to be hunted." General Hux stepped forward. "Should we begin orbital strikes?" Anders paused. "No," she said. "They need to see us." The first human ships entered the atmosphere. Low, slow, silent. They didn't fire. They dropped pods. Not bombs, but troops. Special forces teams landed in every major city on Zarn Prime. Their mission wasn't destruction, it was control. They moved like ghosts appearing power stations, shutting down comm centers and surrounding military buildings without firing a single shot. By the time the Zarn High Command realized what was happening, their capital was already under human control. Not destroyed. Owned. High Lord Victal stood inside his bunker, trembling. He could hear the sounds above, glass shattering, boots marching, systems crashing. He looked at Commander Yali. "You told me they were scattered." "They were," Yali whispered. "And now they're one." A loud blast shook the door, then silence. Moments later, it opened. A single human stepped in. A commander. His armor was black, his helmet marked with the flag of old Earth. He didn't raise his weapon. He simply said, "Your empire is over. Earth remembers us." On every screen across the planet, human ships hovered in the sky, not firing, not destroying, waiting. Broadcasts began. Human leaders appeared. Soldiers stood with them, faces hard, voices calm. "We are not conquerors. We are not monsters. We are survivors. And we are done running." Back in space, thousands of alien worlds received a signal. Some cheered. Others fell into silence. But all understood one thing. Humanity was not weak. No, it had only been quiet. Now the galaxy would never forget them again. And as the remembrance turned from Zon Prime's engines igniting like stars, one final message echoed through the system. War ends when you have nothing left to fear. We are that fear.